Hello everyone and welcome to this introduction to the MA Public History. I'm Dr. Anna Maguire and I am the co-lead of the programme along with my colleague Mark Frost, and we're delighted that you have some interest in finding out more about the MA Public History. So in this morning's slides I'm going to share with you a bit of an introduction to what the programme's about, an overview of the kinds of activities that we do through our core module especially, and then tell you a little bit about our class and programme locations at our home at UCL East. So hopefully this answers many questions that you might have, but please don't hesitate to check out the drop-in times for the MA Public History or get in touch via email if you have any other questions. So I want to start with a little bit of an overview as to what it means to do public history at UCL. As you'll see on the slide here, there are four elements that we really think underpins the MA in Public History and which offers students that combination of theoretical and conceptual understanding of what it means to do history with and for the public, and also thinking about the practical skills which enable us to do that in ways which are ethical and collaborative. So we have a kind of 4Cs approach to some of these aspects, which I've developed with students over the past couple of years. So firstly is critical rigor. For us, good public history is fundamentally good history. So we're really interested in your ability to research, to engage with primary source materials and secondary source materials and existing case studies about public history, and really develop those skills across the MA. And for those of you who are thinking about this as a stepping stone towards doctoral work or other further study, this is just to reassure you that within the programme, we really have this emphasis on making sure you have those academic skills in place as well. The second C is for communication. Public history is inherently a communicative genre, regardless of which kinds of outputs you're interested in producing. So whether you are scripting a documentary for TV or radio, or developing a walking tour to share your historical insights while moving around the city, or even designing exhibition text, one of our key emphasis is on that ability to communicate those ideas to your designated audience and to find a tone and style and range of writing or speaking that works for them. Our third C is for creativity. This is one of my favourite aspects of teaching this programme, and the thing that is the really kind of exciting part of our work that often surprises us and which students really lean into. The Public History MA is a space for play and experimentation, and so when we talk about creativity, we're not necessarily thinking about people coming with existing production skills or the ability to make a high-end video or do wonders on kind of Photoshop or what have you, but instead thinking about how you can be creative in your ideas, in how you conceive of projects, and in how you communicate those. So we leave lots of space for experimentation. We take a very DIY approach. You're producing kind of prototypes of work rather than asking you to be a sole trader interested in making kind of public histories all by yourself, but having that underpinning idea. And then the final C is community. So for us, this has a sort of twofold approach. The first aspect is within the course itself. We're very lucky to have cohorts who work together and support each other in numerous ways. The nature of a degree programme like this, which has this aspect of experimentation, but also emphasis on practical skills, means that we need students who are able to work together, to offer that peer support, to bounce ideas off each other. And that's particularly important during the group research project process, which I'll talk more about in a moment. So kind of fostering a sense of community, making sure that everyone feels brave and safe to share their experiences and their ideas, which can often be quite a vulnerable feeling, is really core to how we teach and run the module and the programme more generally. The second element of community is that the MA Public History has a community-oriented focus with who we choose to work with as part of our degree. So there will be opportunities throughout the degree programme for you to work with community partners, whether that's through a group research project, whether that's thinking about your final project, or whether that's more ad hoc voluntary opportunities as you make your way through the degree. So let's give a little bit of an overview then of what the programme entails and what you'd be expecting to do if you were studying with us full-time in the academic year 25-26. So there are 180 credits in total for the programme, and these are divided into 3 general parts. The first part is our core module, Critical Public History, which is 30 credits. So this module is taken by everyone who does the programme, and it runs across the first 2 terms, so autumn winter and then into winter spring term. In the first half of the year, in term 1, this module thinks particularly about concepts, approaches and theories of public history. So we have discussion time in class in small groups, enabling you to really get a sense of what it means to be a public historian, what existing practitioners and scholars think about public history, so you can start to feel your way through where you belong in the field. In the second half, in term 2, students are undertake their group research projects, which I'll talk more about. But in our class time, we're really thinking about the practical doing of public history. So we have a series of skills workshops with expert practitioners from UCL Special Collections and from the rest of the UCL History Department. We also do careers development work in term 2, as well as developing those evaluative skills to be able to reflect on the work undertaken in the group research projects. As well as that core module, which is compulsory, you will also take 60 credits of optional modules during your time with us. So that's usually 30 credits in each term. Each optional module is 15 credits. So the likely spread is that you would do your core module and 2 optional modules in term 1. You'd carry on with the core module and 2 additional optional modules in term 2. You are enabled to take optional modules from across the MA History curriculum and external to the department if we're able to get you a place on them. The only kind of caveat or obligation that you have is to take 30 credits of public history labelled modules. So these are modules that are specifically designed with a public history focus, just to ensure you have those opportunities to really develop your expertise in this area, though they range in topic and consideration. So you may take a module on Britain's colonial past and public history, or thinking about applied history, truth and justice, or the history of mass violence and conflict, for example. Then the final part of your sort of 180 credits for the year is the big one, is a 90 credit portion, which is your final project. So this is equivalent to a dissertation, as it might be on a straightforward MA history, but we give you 2 options to choose from for the MA Public History. You can either choose creating public history, which has tended in the last couple of years to be the more popular option with students. So we're seeing examining kind of moving up the line. So creating public history asks you to make a public history output equivalent to 10,000 words. So that could be anything from a digital exhibition to a walking tour to a documentary to a community engaged activity that you run and develop resources for. And that's equivalent to 10,000 words, and we help you figure out what that equivalence looks like. Alongside that, you'll also write a 5,000 word critical reflection, which helps you to reflect on why you undertook the research in this way, what the underpinning research is, and how successful it was in fulfilling your aims and objectives with this project, including thinking about audience feedback. The alternative option, examining public history, gives an opportunity for those who maybe feel a little bit more comfortable with writing rather than creating work, to examine public history, case studies, or examples in a 10,000 word dissertation. So unlike a history dissertation, which is reliant on primary source material, this might include thinking about the development of new memorials, or for examining museum exhibitions on a certain topic, to kind of build up and respond to a research question which analyses why these have been significant or important and what they tell us more generally about public history as a subdiscipline. Alongside that, you'll also create a much smaller public history output equivalent to 5,000 words, which builds on some of the insights that you've developed in the first part of the work, but maybe takes it in a new direction. So there's lots of opportunities, as you can see, throughout the degree programme to develop a really kind of wide-ranging portfolio of work, which you can then take with you to bring to future employers or in developing your own projects going forwards. For the core module, for instance, in the first term, your assessment is an audiovisual essay, which gives you a really exciting opportunity to kind of demo some existing and developing skills in creating a script rather than writing an essay and producing that for an audience. So there really are lots of opportunities to kind of build on those practical skills and aspects. I just wanted to give you a bit of an example of the kind of what teaching looks like when we think about the MA Public History. So this is a very hands-on degree programme with lots of opportunities for engaging with materials and bringing your own ideas to class. So in the top left image on the slide, you can see a masterclass being delivered by Sophie Page, who's a professor in the Department of History, about exhibition making in her previous work in an groundbreaking exhibition called Spellbound, and telling us about what it was like to transform her own research into this exhibition process. And then in the other two images, you can see students from a previous cohort of the MA engaging with objects from UCL Special Collections in the Culture Lab at UCL East, which is a designated object handling space for us at this new campus. I wanted to just say a little word about the group research projects that our students undertake. Excuse me. To give you an example of the kinds of work you might be undertaking. So rather than having a specific placement module in the term 2 of our core module, we run these group research projects as an opportunity for you to get experience in working with a client and developing those both practical and professional skills of delivering a public history output in a way that we think is more supportive of students actually getting to do stuff within their placement. Excuse me. So this year's project, you see there's 5 of them in total, with roughly 5 students in each group. The first is from the History of Parliament Trust, based in central London. And this project is inviting students to develop a new learning resource to support Londoners engaging in democratic processes for the first time. So that's ongoing work at the minute. We're yet to see what's going to come up, but it's going to be launched at an event at Parliament in the House of Lords in the spring of this year coming in 2025, which is very exciting. The second project is working with a team internal to UCL, the advancement team, who work with alumni and donors and that kind of thing, to think about the history of philanthropy within a university. What does it mean to give money to an institution, and how has that money been used? So this is in preparation for UCL's bicentennial. So in 2026, the university is turning 200, and students are going to be using items from our archives to think about how we can build a selection of case study stories to be used in various ways within the bicentennial activities based on existing objects, and what it means to tell a story of philanthropy, which might not always be positive or celebratory, within this moment of kind of marking time for an institution. Our third project also picks up on this idea of anniversaries, working with a collection within our UCL Special Collections and with the Special Collections team. The students have an opportunity to work with the Small Press collection, which is a wonderful selection of books and pamphlets and zines that were printed in small numbers and that are uniquely held at UCL. One of the aspects of this collection is a very international focus. So on this project, students are thinking about how to use Wikipedia and other ways of communicating the international nature of the small press within or without kind of, while navigating, I'd say, some of the challenges of an international collection and thinking about what that means. Our fourth project takes us to our campus at UCL East and is the creation of a cultural history of Stratford. So working with the outreach team, these students are thinking about what it means to embed new communities within this area and how we can support and facilitate that. And our final project also remains in East London with Wanstead Parish, where students are undertaking an oral history project with people who live, including parishioners of the parish church in Wanstead, which is one of the oldest churches in London, one of the most changing communities over time. So this is a really interesting opportunity to think about what local oral history can tell us about community and belonging. Now, I've mentioned already that the MA in Public History is based at our UCL East campus. Now, there's plenty of opportunities to be back in historic Bloomsbury, but we're really excited about the possibilities of working in this new campus space and the resources that are available to students here. The first of these is the Urban Room and Memory Workshop, which is one of the key spaces, core spaces, in which our programme is based. Led by the curator Cara Blackmore, this is a really exciting space of programming, of events, and of exhibitions, as well as being a teaching space. Within the Urban Room, we have the Memory Workshop, which offers equipment for oral history recording, for audio recording more generally, for filming, but also for digitization of materials. So real kind of technical space that students can use to resource their projects as they're moving through. And one of the most exciting aspects of the programme is the opportunity to exhibit your final project in a student showcase exhibition each year. So here are some images from last year's show. So every year it's called In Practice, and then the number depending on which year it is. And students take their final projects and work with Cara and her team to think about what it would mean to actualize these as an exhibition, to take ideas that might have exist in a sort of a digital space as the final output, but to make them materially real for this exhibition. And it really is one of the highlights of the year in showcasing just what our students can do. So in the image on the slide here, you can see three of the sort of exhibitions from last year's show. On the left, this was a programme stand created to help exhibit the work of Julia Chaffers, which was this fantastic history of Black football in London, using the idea of a match day programme and football trading cards as a mode of communicating this past. The central image comes from Liz Palumbo, whose final project was to design a queer walking tour that explored the history of punk in central London. And you can see how, while this is a digital project, she's really taken the aesthetics of punk, and thought about how to display that in this space with an amazing collage that she made at the back and the kind of the tartan and the safety pins at the front. And then on the right, Breda Corish did, again, another digital project that was thinking about finding the Irish in London across 3 centuries. So a really ambitious project that took this approach of mudlarking, of finding different stories from around the banks of the Thames and applied it to historical narratives. And the final output was incredible, a really amazing digital history resource. But here she thought about, well, how can we take that mapping and move it into this more analog feel? And she created little postcard stories which are pinned to the map and are available underneath, which enabled the audience to come in and say, all right, here's a place that's kind of grabbing my imagination. I'm going to scan the QR code on the back and get more information about what I'm doing. As well as the Urban Room and Memory Workshop, which you can see again in the images on the slide to the right. This is one of our students helping set up an exhibition in this space. We also have the Marshgate building with lots of opportunities, lots of places for students to gather and study and collaborate together because of the nature of interdisciplinary teaching on all the programs that are based at UCL East. So it's a really exciting generative space to work within. And it also leads to lots of opportunities for our students. So as well as helping with the installation and de-installation of exhibitions, there are opportunities to act as an invigilator, to attend workshops that are programmed alongside exhibitions, to take advantage of the Institute of Making, which has a home based at UCL East now, to learn new skills, whether it's pottery or sewing, and to really embed yourself within the creative and cultural atmosphere that we're finding alongside the East Bank. So UCL is just one of many new buildings in this part of London. So we also have Sadler's Wells, BBC, the London College of Fashion, and V&A East on our doorstep. So real opportunity to engage with the activities of this area. My final kind of slide is thinking about the broader communities, to returning to that point that I started with about our community focus. Because we are in this fantastic space with these amazing resources, one of the kind of ethoses of the program, or one of part of our ethics, is to resource and support the existing work of history and heritage organisations and practitioners in the area around UCL East. So this is an area that has a long history and vibrant culture of history and heritage that we are here to join in with in a way that's ethical and sustainable. And what that means is that students on the programme have lots of opportunities to get involved in voluntary projects. So on the left-hand side on the boat, you can see one of our students, Eleanor, with counsellor Thelma Odie, who was taking part in an artwork made by Melanie Manchot called Flotilla. And Eleanor, alongside her colleague Kate, were tasked with creating oral history testimonies of the women who got involved in this project, to offer another way of them verbalizing and voicing their experiences in and around the Royal Docks part of East London. Then in the two pictures on the right, you can see some pictures from the Voices at East Bank project, which is a large-scale heritage lottery-funded project coordinated by the London Legacy Development Corporation in partnership with UCL, where we empowered 25 local community researchers to go out and work within their communities to collect memories and testimonies. And on the right-hand side, you can see one of our interviewers, Suresh Singh, who's also known as the Cockney Sikh, and his lovely wife in the park during the Great Get Together. And actually what they're standing in front of is our memory bike, which is a mobile recording system. So there are these fantastic opportunities for you to get involved with what's happening, not only within UCL, but within the surrounding area during your time with us. Thank you so much for your time and attention this morning. I hope this has given you some suggestion and flavour of what it might mean to do public history at UCL. If you have any questions, as I mentioned before, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We're always happy to receive your questions over email or to find time for a chat if that's easier. So thank you and hope to be hearing from you soon.